What most abundance teachings get wrong. I don't like to focus on what's wrong. And sometimes we have to pinpoint where a mistake is to address it. So here we are. I'm not here to throw shade at anybody else's teachings. I'm not here to make anybody else wrong. What I am here to do, my desire is to help you create what it is you want, whatever you want to be, do, or have, to create that with more ease, with more efficiency of thought and action. We all come here with a purpose, a divine objective that's each of ours uniquely that only we can do. And we are here to experience and share that thing. It's why we exist, and it's our gift to life. Fulfilling our unique purpose gives to life as only each of us can. We all have a dream for more in our hearts. More of whatever it is that we believe will take us closer to fulfilling our purpose. More time, more money, more joy, more love, more resources, more health, more family, more connection, et cetera, et cetera. You get the point. We want these things because they will take us closer to who we are here to be. And whatever good we desire, it means that good and even more is available for us right now. We couldn't have the desire if it wasn't available. And I want to be clear here for a moment, just like a little left turn, a little caveat. When I'm talking about abundance or prosperity in this video, I want to be clear. I'm not just talking about money, it can include that. I'm talking about an abundance of whatever good it is you desire. And whatever that good is, you desire it because it is here for you, it's available, and it will help take you forward. So please don't only hear money when I use those words because it is way more expansive than just money. Generally, if you have studied abundance, prosperity, success, entrepreneurship, you'll see one of two pathways illuminated or taught to get there. One is outer, it's external, and it's doing based. Work harder, do more, work longer, accomplish more. It's achievement oriented and it's largely based right on something outside of us in action to go create a result. The other would be inner work, internal being. So we change our minds, our mindset, our thoughts, our beliefs. We understand our core wounds and our triggers and what drives us to do the things we do and create the results we want. Most teachings will focus on one or the other of those pathways. This is what I think these teachings get wrong. Again, no shade to anybody teaching this stuff. I can only speak from my own experience and the experience I've seen with all my clients. And if we focus on only one of those pathways, I think we're missing the point and we're shutting ourselves off from so much good that's available and making the journey so much harder. As a little personal aside, I have spent time in both of those extremes, focusing highly on one and largely ignoring or forgetting about the other. And I can tell you from my personal experience, it does not work. It works maybe for a time, maybe to a certain degree. And then eventually we hit a ceiling where if we're only focused on one of those things, we limit what we can create. So in the outer work, doing, it will look like hitting a point of diminishing returns where you don't have more energy to give. You don't have more time to give. And where you are repeating the same activity perhaps over and over and over. And it's not just like the results level out, it actually is bringing in less and less and less. Or with the inner work, if you only focus on that, what can happen is you end up waiting around for someone or something else to take charge and to create the changes you want, which is not a very empowered or empowering position to be in. It's a lot like, well, I hope this happens. I don't know. If we rely on only one of these pathways, we miss the point of all of this. The point of all of this is growth, is personal growth, is growth in awareness. This is about who we become moving towards what it is we desire. In fact, When we get the thing that it is we desire, like when we finally arrive there, yes, we like, enjoy having or being or doing whatever it is that thing is. And typically we look back and we go, wow, I have become a new version of myself. And it's that version of myself that's then required for the next step. It's that version of myself that's required to go serve at an even higher level. When we focus on either just the outer or either just the inner, we're leaving like half of the development by the wayside. We're leaving ourselves halfway grown, halfway developed, halfway fulfilled. And that's a disservice, I believe, to ourselves and to life and to all the people we're here to help. Another way of saying it is this: the path to our desires asks us to grow in ways that nothing else will. And if we take shortcuts, we miss out on so much more than just the attainment of the thing we desire. We're short circuiting or limiting or putting a ceiling on who we get to become and what we get to do way beyond the attainment of this thing. So let's look for a moment, right, at each of these pathways. I think it's really helpful to see exactly what happens if we hyper or micro focus on only one of these things. If we rely only on our outer growth, we work harder and longer. We probably learn some great things like perseverance, diligence, fortitude, etc. We're also learning to rely only on our own efforts. We're leaving God out, we're leaving spirit out. And in that mode, right, we're operating at not only a disadvantage, we're operating outside of the truth because we are not here alone. We are not doing this alone. Life is on our side, God is on our side, nothing withheld. So when we just put our heads down and push, we're sort of saying, maybe not super directly, I'm good, don't really need the help, I got this, which puts us at a disadvantage. What also happens is we're not forced to change the way that we think or what we believe. We get to be the same version of ourselves we've always been. We just work harder. Which, listen, there is growth in learning to work harder or maybe take a step we're scared to take, of course. It doesn't inherently require us to think differently or believe differently. So if we don't have to change and we get to be the same version of ourselves we've always been, again, we're missing the point of all this, which is growth. That's what we're here to do. So now let's look at the other side. If we rely only on the inner work, what tends to happen? We do the mindset and the belief work. We build our faith. We learn to listen to our intuition. We do whatever healing and growth is required. We also run the risk of staying in victimhood because we wait for something to happen outside of ourselves. All right, I've done the inner work. I've looked at all this. Now, when's it going to change? We don't push the edges of our comfort zone with uncomfortable action. Remember, I just said we do learn by taking action, by taking bold moves. We learn a lot about ourselves in the process. If we only rely on the inner work, we also don't run the risk of rejection or failure. It's like a preemptive failure in a way, and here's what I mean. If we refuse to take action and move forward, we then get to blame life or God or other people. Well, it didn't happen. I did my work. And we don't have to go take those big or uncomfortable steps and fail doing so. And we preemptively fail because we don't give ourselves the chance to succeed and launch. So we do like a soft failure. Well, it didn't happen. I didn't try. I remember, I wasn't planning on sharing this, but it's coming to mind. I remember a client many years back, and when we first spoke, they were telling me they didn't have clear dreams or desires in their business. They didn't have like a financial goal. They were saying this: I do actually know what I want to make every month in my business, but I don't want to claim that. I don't want to aim for that. I don't want to decide to do that because I'm scared that when I don't get there, when it gets to the end of the year and I haven't hit that mark, I'm going to feel disappointed. I'm going to feel crappy about myself. So they weren't doing it. What happened? Once they got over that and they were willing to set goals, desires, etc., things to aim for, they went so far past that so quickly. So if we don't do that, if we're unwilling to set a standard for ourselves, to go take action, to do things that are uncomfortable, we sort of decide to fail by not trying. We sort of decide through indecision. So both of these ways have tremendous gifts for us. They do, and I've tried to outline at least a few of them here. And if we choose to only focus on one, we limit our abundance, we limit our growth, we limit how we can serve. And that's what we're here to do, is to serve life at the highest level we're capable of. And we limit all those things when we focus on only one path, because we receive in proportion to what we give. And if we're limiting our growth, we're giving a less elevated version of ourselves to life. We are serving at a lower level than we're capable of serving. And we tend to receive less abundantly when we do that, because, again, we receive in proportion to what we give. And what are we always giving? Ourselves, our state of consciousness. Before we ever even take an action, we're giving our thoughts and our beliefs and our feelings out all the time to life. So when we fail to develop in any way possible, through outer action, through inner work, we're giving a less elevated version of ourselves to life, and we receive less abundantly. And I believe quite strongly, as you can tell from this video, that we are intended to do both. We're intended to look outside of ourselves and go, where am I asked to stretch and to grow and to go beyond what I ever thought I could do, and to learn so much about ourselves in the process? I also believe we are intended to go inside of ourselves, to leave the world of appearances aside for a moment. Look at our thoughts, look at our beliefs, look at our mindset, and see the upper limits and the ceilings they create in our life, and to have the courage to go change that. And it does take courage. If you have ever watched any of my videos, you know how many times I will tell you how much courage it takes to change what we believe and think. We have learned to source our safety by thinking and believing in a certain way. So it does take courage. I believe we are intended to do both. That's where the so-called magic happens. That's where abundance and prosperity come flooding into our lives and our businesses. Nothing is created halfway, and there is nowhere that God is not. These two paths, the inner and the outer, they are different sides of the same coin, and they're both supposed to be used in this life. God is equally present in both. One is not better than the other. Neither is meant to be left alone. When we isolate, and we all tend to do this, we isolate one because one of those two ways is more comfortable for us, depending on our upbringing, our beliefs in ourselves. Either the inner or the outer work is going to be more comfortable. And we will isolate that and focus on it. And then when we don't get the results we want, or it's harder, or it takes longer, or they're limited, we sort of scratch our heads and we go, I don't get it. I worked so hard. You probably did. And you left out maybe an entire area of work or change or growth that you're capable of making. We are intended to do both. God is equally present in both. And you will be guided to focus on one or the other when you need to. Sometimes it is time to put your head down and just take massive action. Sometimes it is time to get quiet and go, what is it I am not seeing about myself that needs to be shifted here? Because I'm doing all the action, but I'm not getting the results I want. God is there to show up for you, to hold you and support you on both ends of that spectrum. When you leave one out, you leave yourself at a disadvantage. In a way, right? This is an act of self love. It's an act of self care to be willing to hold both ends of that spectrum, to show up equally in either and both, because you allow yourself to be supported at the highest level possible if you'll show up in both. If not, you're saying, I'm willing to be supported over here, but not really over here. Don't be surprised, right, if your results slow down, if that were the case. It is a radical act of self love to be willing to say, I will show up in both the outer and the inner, and to be and do whatever is required, whatever God shows me to do, wherever life points me. I will do that because I deserve that. I deserve that success. I deserve that support. And life is relying on me to be the best version of myself to help life thrive. So let's close with this, a new way for you to look at this scenario, at your own growth, at what's possible. These ways are very simple. I encourage you to write them down and really consider them. When you focus on one of the paths and ignore the other, you are diminishing your power to create. If you want more abundance and prosperity, prioritize both. So here are these questions. One, ask yourself, what are the thoughts and beliefs of the version of me who already has what I want? What are the thoughts and beliefs of the version of me who already has what I want? Focus there. Prioritize those thoughts, prioritize those beliefs, weave them into how you function and think and move every day, and you will start to see the changes. That's an example of the inner work. There are 1,001 examples we could use. That's the one we're going to focus on here. Number two, ask yourself, what would I do if my success was guaranteed? What would I do if my success was guaranteed? What actions would I take? Who would I call? Who would I go serve? Who would I reach out to? Where would I go? And what would I say and to whom? Start to move in that direction. Do those things, take those bold actions, and see what happens. If you start to do both of those things, you are setting yourself up for, if you do both of those things, you are setting yourself up for extraordinary success. You are opening the doors to abundance and prosperity to receive whatever it is your heart desires. Do not limit yourself. Do not abandon one of these pathways of growth and work for the other. You're an integrated being, you're a whole being. God is equally present everywhere. Both paths are for you.